I'm Lanikia, and hey, cuties, I'm Lanikia, and you're watching What Happened on the Soaps. This is Days of Our Lives edition. Today is Tuesday, June the 28th, 2022. I actually just watched this soap because I completely forgot that they still play their soaps on Peacock, even when they don't air when they're supposed to air on regular TV. So I'm not gonna lie to you, it wasn't that much on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm gonna give it a 7. And let's just get started with this. So we see Sammy and Lucas are speaking, and they are happy because of they're getting married and everything, and they're just excited about their life and the possibilities of their future. And she lets him know that EJ signed the papers and that Belle was there, and they speak about how Belle had not hostility towards Sammy, but that they don't have this close relationship, and that Belle was actually defending EJ, saying that she doesn't believe that EJ kidnapped Sammy. And Lucas said, well, I mean, you can't blame Belle for not being that warm with you. You've done horrible things to her. You tried to sell her on the black market when she was a baby. Then you let Jan Spears go, and now she has a child with her husband and everything. So her marriage is falling apart. So I mean, you sometimes you got to take one. And anyways, so they end up meeting up with Allie a little bit later, and she lets them know that Lucas proposed to her, and that she Allie meets her mom and dad, and they just find out that they're getting married, and so she's really excited about that. And they say the only thing is, they're concerned about Jennifer. And Allie tells Lucas, I was just coming over here to check on you because I wanted to make sure, everything was okay. That you're doing okay with, Abigail's death. And he said it's hard, but he's trying to be strong for Jennifer and everything. And then Lucas has a flashback where he just cannot remember how he cut his hand, but we already know that. So, y'all, that was it with them. So then, speaking of Allie, she did go and see Ben and Sierra earlier, and Sierra was actually on the phone with Hope, and Hope told her she had a surprise. So, anyways, Allie comes over, and Allie just apologizes because she did abduct Sierra and kidnap the baby, but she was the devil at the time, so it wasn't really her fault. But she still felt bad about it, and Ben and Sierra just reassured her, no, 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 that's not your fault. So that's it with them and Allie and everything. Um, but we do see Belle and not Sean, Belle and EJ. So Belle and EJ are talking, and he like, all right, let's pick up where we left off. Let's go on upstairs. And she's like, are you kidding me? No, we're not about to go upstairs. And he was like, why not? And she said, because you have feelings for my sister. And he says, no, like you're just using me to stick it to Sammy. And he says, no, I'm not. Like, I'm cool with Sammy moving on with her life and everything. I'm not using you, Belle. He says, now does it make does a part of me think yes, Sammy would be upset about this and gets in a little enjoyment out of it? Yeah, but he said, but that's not what this is. And so she was like, you're not gonna use me. And so he was like, well, you could be using me with Sean. And she was like, what? And he said, well, no, you can't, because she was getting upset with him. And he was like, you cannot get upset with me about this, but then accuse me accusing you of doing this when you did it the same to me. And she does admit that, yeah, she knew going to EJ all those times would upset Sean. And he was like, I know, because he said you could have stayed at the end, you could have confided in one of your friends, you could have did anything, but you kept purposely running over here knowing that that would irritate Sean. But then they both agree that, yes, we both know it would irritate the people and maybe we shouldn't do this or whatever. But EJ still wants to, but Belle is like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then when she's about to leave, she turns around and she says, I always do the right thing. I'm always a good girl and all that. But look what it's got me. So her and EJ going upstairs. And even when they're upstairs, he tries to tell her, Are you sure about this? Are you sure you don't want you know, we don't have to do this, but she wants to and everything. So, it is what it is. You can't stop her. I mean, she wants to do it. Um so then we go to back to Sierra and Ben, and Julie actually comes and visits them and gives them the present from Hope, which is a boat, and the it is called Living in Sin is what they name it. And see, because when Ben found out that Hope was giving them a boat, he was like, "Why would she give us a boat?" And she said, "Because my mom and dad had a boat. My dad had a boat, and he called it Fancy Face after my mom." And she said, and they just lived and explored and everything on Fancy Face, and they actually raised baby Sean on it. And and she was just giving a history of Hope and Bo being on that boat. And so now boats are a big thing in their family, so that's why their mother gifted them with the boat. And so after hearing all this, she's like, we should take a small trip or whatever. But Ben is like, no, we should take a big trip, like a major trip, and like Bo and Hope did, and just explore. And we have been hearing that Ben and Sierra are supposed to be leaving the show. It was a rumor, as well as Eli and Lonnie, as well. So that's a lot of cast members to leave the show at one time. It seems like a lot, but you never know. We'll see. But anyway, so that's it with them, y'all. They got the boat and they're happy. They are upset that about Sean and Jan, because but they just like he has to live his life, and we hate that she's in it, but it is what it is. All right, so then we go to. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes. Elliot uploaded the Evan. Okay, so then we go to Sean. So he's talking to Jan about, because she was like, "You seem upset or whatever," and he was like, "I saw Belle, and she's more upset than ever now or whatever." And she was like, "You could talk to me about it." And he was like, "No, Jan, I'm not going to talk to you about it." Then why did you even bring it up? Like, Sean really is getting on my nerves at this point now. So then we see that he, excuse me. So then we see that Julie comes in, and she tells Sean, like, "Why are you confiding about your marriage with Belle to Jan, the woman who wants to break it up? Tell him, ma'am." I don't understand it. Like, Sean is just so oblivious to what is like, how are you a detective? Like, honestly, you're not that good of a person that you just like you're, "Oh, I'm just so good, like I can't see wrong." Like, you are a detective, you're a police officer. How are you a police officer and you can't read through what Jan is doing? But anyways, Julie's just like, "You can't blame Belle. Like, look what you've taken this woman's side. She should be going back to prison." And so Janet's like, "Oh my God, Granny, what she call her? Granny Williams, Granny something. I can't believe you're saying that about your great grandson's mother." And she was like, "We're family." And she said, "No, no, 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 we are not family." And people really need to stop doing that. You could be related to someone and not be family with them. Period. Anyways, so Jan and Miss Julie go back and forth or whatever. And Sean is just standing there. I'm like, "Sir, you're not gonna shut this down." But he not, because Sean has no backbone as usual. So he doesn't say anything. And finally, Julie just tells him about, she's going to Sierra's them. This was before she went to give them a gift, what Hope gave him. And so Sean finds out they're giving a boat, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, they'll love that. Me and Belle had dreams about traveling." And Julie was like, "You could still do this." And then Jan said, "Well, we just had a baby. Why we ain't getting no boat?" And she said, and oh, that's when Sean was like, "No, it's fine." And Julie was like, "Let me leave before I say something I won't regret." And so she hugs Sean, and she tells him everything's gonna be all right. Nothing's gonna stop you and Belle from being together. And she looking at Jan, because Jan is gonna try to stop it. Period. So that's it with them, y'all. So then we go over to Evan. So Evan is in prison, but his dad has come to see him. And so they're talking or whatever. And so he's telling his dad about how the devil busted him out and everything that happened. And he said, I should have went and saw my son. Now his sister Zoe has full custody, but she has got back with her husband and she has gone to New Zealand. And is it Zealand or no? Yeah, New Zealand is where she went. And so he said, what? How could she do this? And the daddy said, well, she do got legal custody of your son or whatever, so she didn't have to tell you anything. And he said, but you got more important family matters to discuss. And he was like, what are you talking about? I what's more important than my son? And he said, your other son. I'm not gonna hold you long on this. And he said, what other son? He said, your son with Jan Spears. Y'all tell me, how is this so? I don't remember this. Am I missing something? Tell me, please. How does Evan have a son with Jan? Y'all let me know. Is it the baby that was just born? Because if that's the baby, Sean didn't do a DNA test, child. I don't know, child. This finna be a whole mess. Because Bella went and slept with EJ. Ain't no coming back from that. All right, guys. That was Days of Our Lives today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you tomorrow for a new episode.